Mute your mic. Mute your mic.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. We will start here in just about 1 minute. We'll let a couple more people log in and we will start shortly. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. I guess it's still morning technically, but I just want to take a minute to thank everyone. It looks like we have a good representation of our parents. And as we start all things here at the Mount, let's start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Here we are again, Lord, at the beginning of another new school year, and for this group of students and parents, their final year of high school. We thank you for the gift of education in every form. Backpacks are loaded, masks are on, and the rooms are filled with students eager to learn. As our students move forward with this school year, may confidence be their foundation, grace be their guide, and may hope be their compass toward a bright future. We pray that they will have the eyes to see the needs of those around them and a heart to love well. May they face each day with positivity, knowing that no matter what comes their way, they do not have to face it alone. We ask this in the name of our Father and in our Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, so we're going to divide this up. I'll start with some things and then Mallory Mallory, you're going to do the technical housekeeping, okay?
Housekeeping. We laughed that we should have started with the freshman class to work out the kinks, but this is our first time doing this, so welcome. We're glad that you're here. We'll spend about maybe 45 minutes, an hour at the most, just kind of talking through senior year and everything that you need to know. So a couple of housekeeping, there's a chat feature and a Q&A feature. So if you have any questions, feel free to just type it into that Q&A or the chat spot. Mrs. Wagner is on and will be answering questions, and Donna and I will answer those questions as we go as well. So this is set up as a webinar, so you don't have to worry about turning your mic off or your camera off. We actually can't see you. You can only see us. So feel free as we go along, if you have questions, please feel free to put it in that chat box or Q&A box, and we will answer as we go. So Donna, go ahead and take us away. Oh, you're muted, Donna.
Technology is not my forte. Okay. Last spring, Mallory and I had the opportunity to sit down with you and your senior student, now senior student, and go through what they needed as far as a 4-year plan and looking at what they needed to meet graduation requirements. And Mallory and I were in the classrooms with Mr. Beckman's classes probably about a month ago, and went through much of this presentation with them and a little more in depth than that. But what we're asking our students as far as academic preparation, this is their final year before they go off to college, and we want to make sure they have that foundation that's going to help them be successful as they move forward. So we want them in a challenging curriculum, but not one that's going to overwhelm or frustrate them. They should be taking classes that are going to lay that foundation, especially if they have an intended major. They want to be taking classes that are going to lead into those classes at the college level. We reviewed the 4-year plan to make sure that they were going to meet graduation requirements. And all students should graduate with 28 credits. And that's the graduation requirement too. So no students should have an NC or an F that hasn't been resolved on their transcript. And as that needs to be cleaned up before they can graduate also. Some of the ways that we challenge our students is we have 21 AP courses that we offer here at the Mount. And we have, this year, we have 7 dual credit courses that are offered for university credit through Newman University. And for us to offer those, their masters in their academic area, and then they're approved through Newman University as far as their syllabus and their credentials, and then we can offer those classes. So those students are able to take music appreciation, which will be called a Heritage of Western Music, our philosophy class, our Spanish language and Spanish literature classes are being offered for dual credit, as well as for the AP credit if a student chooses to take the AP test. We also offer a class called the Catholic Imagination, which would transfer to even a public university as a humanities credit. And then we have the American History 2 and the World Civ 2, which would also transfer. So by taking just dual credit classes, this doesn't include any of the AP courses or that the students can take. A student, if they took advantage of all of these, could earn up to 23 college credits through our dual credit program. So we really encourage our students to participate in that. And as we move forward, we want to continue to grow that program for our students. Okay, I'm not sure, Mallory, how do you change your, is she there to change the screen? Oh, there we go. Okay, the next thing as far as with our seniors, you know, they're starting to apply to colleges, they're going to start applying to scholarships. Part of that application or those applications are their resume. And so if your student hasn't been involved, it's not too late to get involved. We encourage them to try different activities, especially activities that may pull them in a direction of what major career area that they're looking at. As they go into those opportunities or those activities, or if they've been involved with them, to take on some leadership positions, you know, and just step out of that comfort zone, and that, because that's how they learn about themselves and continue to grow. Some of the things that we offer, and one, I guess that we don't offer, but that's available, and this is, a student can do this through into their college experiences, the Congressional Award Program. And this is where a student does volunteer work, they do physical activity, they do where they self-improve, they find a topic or an area that they want to do some self-improvement in, and that, but they go through and they do all these different things, and they earn hours and that, and they can earn the silver, the bronze, the silver, or the gold Congressional Award, depending on how many hours that they put into each one of those different levels. So again, this is a great opportunity for kids. They can start it now, they can carry it through into college, and again, it looks really good on a college or a high school or college resume. Being involved with volunteer work, part-time jobs, we also offer internship opportunities, and also for students to do a job shadow. This will give them that day in a life of a career if they're still kind of undecided on what they want to do. So that job shadow can help. The internship is where it's a more extended time in a particular career where a student works on a regular basis, and it can be every day for a couple hours for a semester, where a student goes in to a position, works, learns about that career, and gets to mingle and talk with people in that career area and see if what they're looking at going to is a good fit for them. And then again, strong academics, colleges want to see that students taking that challenging curriculum as well as being involved. But the main thing is that there's a balance. You know, a college doesn't want to see a laundry list of activities, because they know that if the student is involved in too many things, they can't commit or be they can't commit to one, or they're so spread out that their involvement can't be that great. So looking for commitment, looking for leadership. Okay.
Mrs. Williams, we had a question about the counseling office setting up job shadowing.
Okay. Okay. Job shadows, I mean, if a student comes in and they're interested in a job shadow, we'll sit down, we'll talk. A lot of our connections with our internships and job shadows, the families or the student has actually a connection. It may be, so we've had kids interested in like veterinary medicine, or even, you know, medical careers are a little bit harder. But if they have someone in the family, or maybe a connection of somebody that we can contact, that's typically what we do. Or we can look at maybe what we have as far as parents, and just see if there's another parent that's in that particular career, if they would be willing to host a student to shadow. And that in the time of COVID right now, they may be a little more restricted as far as who they let in and that, but we can always open the door and see what's available and see if we can get something set up. Okay, standardized testing. This year, the class of 2021, typically we require our seniors to take both the ACT and the SAT. And because of some of the restrictions on testing, on the availability, the administration has made the decision that our senior class only needs to take one, either the SAT or the ACT for graduation. And again, that's just for this class of 2021. All the seniors, unless they're new to the Mount, took the ACT in March. So that score that they have is good for scholarships and admission purposes. You know, if they want to send their scores, we have them on a test, like a report, their testing report that we can attach to their transcript. So when we send a transcript off, we can attach that and the schools can get the scores that way. If the school wants them directly from the testing agency, the student will have to go to College Board, or if they could use the ACT, and request that the score be sent directly from the testing agency. ACT, if a student wants to register, take the ACT, that website's there, it's actstudent.org. The student can take the ACT up to 12 times, which I don't know, we've never had anybody take that many times, but we've had kids take it probably 7 or 8 times. And the cost is, there's no writing, the cost is $52. If you add the plus writing, it's $68. We do have fee waivers for students that qualify for free and reduced lunches. So if your student qualifies for that, have them come and see either Mrs. Techmeyer or myself. They can qualify for 2 fee waivers, so they can take the test twice for free. And if they decide to test more, then they would be charged that additional or the testing fee. But if your student has taken the SAT and they take an ACT, as far as retesting, look at which one they do better on, and they can come in and sit down and talk to us if they're not sure which one to take, and do prep, and then just focus on that test. And we offer different prep. We have a program called Method Test Prep where we subscribe to that. It's an online prep where the students can access that 24/7. There's also test prep available. We are offering a class that we actually started it last spring and then had to cancel it because we're going to distance learning. So those students were moved into a prep class that'll start in October for this senior class. So again, as far as doing some prep and deciding to retest, the ACT has actually gone to a super score, whereas in this fall, where I believe they go back 3 years to if the student is tested, and they take the best score from each of the subtests. So if a student did well on like a test in English and reading, but maybe their math and science was a little bit lower, and they come back and they do some prep, and now they maybe math and or English and reading don't they stay the same, but their math and science goes up. They'll take those best scores from each of those subtests, put it together for a super score, and that so when they get their score report, the super score will be reported on that, and that's what also will be sent to the colleges. They don't have to request that at all. Many of the colleges, and I think Mallory will probably talk about this a little bit too, is many of the colleges are going test optional. So as you start looking at, or your child starts looking at what colleges they're applying to, see if the school is test optional. And if they need to have a test, if they're looking at honors or a class or an honors program or scholarship, they may want those test scores there. And again, we encourage kids to retest because it's more familiar you become with the test, the more likely you are to do better. The colleges will use the benchmarks for placement in the college. If the student meets the benchmark, they don't have to take a remedial class. they can go right into that base level freshman 101 course, or if they don't meet the benchmark, they may have them take a test at the college level, and if they do pass it, then they can go on to that freshman level. If not, they have to take remedial courses. So again, if you have any questions over test prep or anything, just let us know, and we can get you those resources or get them to your students so that they can be practicing before they take their next test. Okay, AP is registration. We are actually starting the AP registration now for the spring tests. So I've been in the classrooms yesterday, today. I'll be in some next Monday and Tuesday, giving the students their AP registration forms. On that form, it should have all the AP classes that they are in. The students can decide if they want to take the test in each of the classes or those AP classes, or if they want to just take it in one or two of them. And that they need to return that form back to me by August 12th, so I can get our tests ordered. And I know that seems early for students to make that decision, but last fall, when I was kind of expressing my dissatisfaction with having to have it done, I was very happy that we had gone through the registration process in the fall, and we weren't trying to deal with that in the spring as we were doing distance learning. So again, the cost is $95 for each exam. It's $54 for students that qualify for free and reduced lunches. If the student registers for the test and then January, February roll around and they decide they're not ready for it, there's no penalty for canceling the test. As far as cost, typically College Board will charge for a canceled exam. They've waived that cancellation fee. What we'll do though is so if the test was $95, if the student cancels one or more tests, we'll just have a standard $10 administration fee for processing the check and returning it to you. And that's just one fee. So if the student cancels more than one test, it's just $10 that'll be taken out and not $10 per test. Just some facts from our 2020. Last year, we had 119 students that still tested online at home, and they took 218 exams, which is a lot of exams. I was really proud of our kids for sticking with it and seeing it through the end. 66% of our AP students, that's 79 of the total of 119, received at least one score of 3 or higher on an exam. So again, our students did very well on their AP scores last spring, and we anticipate that our students will continue to do well. Our class of 2020 that left us had 16 AP scholars, 2 AP scholars with distinctions, or with honors, and 3 AP scholars with distinction. Our current senior class right now has 1 AP scholar, 3 AP scholars with honors, and 1 AP scholar with distinction. And those students progress to those different levels based on the number of tests that they take and how they score on the tests that they take. So again, kudos to our senior class. They're doing well, and I expect those numbers to go up as we go through and finish out the spring and testing next spring. So, okay. So I'm going to turn my mic off and turn it back to Mallory.
Okay, so as Ms. Williams said, we were in with the seniors, probably like 3 weeks into school, presenting a lot of this information, and hopefully that got their wheels turning a little bit. Not being in school last spring really hindered our conversations with the juniors, so they may be a little bit behind, but hopefully having this information early into the senior year will help them. So with them, we talked about choosing a college, and I think that's a lot of the stress and anxiety for the seniors is, where do I apply? Where am I going to go? And we always tell the students, you don't have to know right now. Get all of your applications in, get everything, finished early, and you don't have to know right now. Really, May 1st is kind of the national time to let the college know that you're attending. If you wait until May 1st, you may miss out on some opportunities for housing and scholarships and things like that. But definitely getting your applications in now is what we tell the students. And so we go over kind of those important factors in choosing a college with them. The big one is size, location, thinking about how far from home they want to be. And we always laugh. You talk to them and they say, well, I want to go as far away as possible. And then that doesn't happen most of the time. A lot of times it does. And a lot of times students excel in that kind of environment, but they quickly realize that, maybe I do want to stay a little bit closer to home for whatever reason that might be. Something that is important to consider right now too is COVID and what's going to be going on in the upcoming months. We don't know, but having some options, having those options available just depending on what state we are in with that. So identifying what those factors are as far as the financial side, and we'll kind of go over that here in just a little bit, talking about the cost. Do they have my degree program? Do they have the extracurriculars that I want? Is it a place where I can build my faith life? All of those things that I think the kids need to consider. We tell them, don't go where your boyfriend and girlfriend are going. Don't go where mom and dad went just because that's what they want you to do. We want them to really find the best fit for them, and allowing that to be not just personally, socially, in their faith life, but also academically, and making sure that the school that they are applying to is a good fit for them academically. And we tell them, if you're applying to a school that has like a 6% acceptance rate, but maybe your GPA and test scores don't line up with that college, then we have that conversation, which is a hard one for us, but we want to be realistic too and let them know, that might be a little bit of a stretch. So let's kind of think of some schools that might be a better fit for you. So those are all conversations that we have with the students, especially this time of year, in particular with the seniors, and how we can help in that process. We talk with them about the reasons for going to college. A lot of times, I think that's, especially we're a college prep school, so that's what we talk about a lot is college, but we realize that that's not going to be the route for everyone. We have students that are interested in attending seminary, or interested in attending military, or taking a gap year, or starting at the community college and then going to a 4-year school. And that's what's great about our community, is we support all of those things, and we want to see the student excel in whatever their interest is. And so we're going to help them find their path. And so helping the kids realize all of those things and help them figure out what the best plan for them might be is what we're here for. So if your student, we always tell the kids this and they kind of look at us like we're crazy, but if they have no idea what they want to do, then we definitely need to talk with them. They're the ones that should be in our office most. So as far as listing and comparing colleges, we have an abundance of colleges actually joining us this fall. You can see here, one thing that has come out of the COVID times is the accessibility of colleges. And so we have just about every single day have had colleges visiting. And what that looks like, it's during academic period at 1 o'clock, and the student logs into a Zoom meeting, and they have a one-on-one conversation with the admissions rep for these schools. And so we tell the students a lot of times the reps that are coming or that are setting up these calls are the reps that are looking through the students' applications. So it's a really great time to make those connections. For example, last year we had a student who for OU, and he would have gotten a significant scholarship that he didn't know about, and he was able to connect with our admissions rep, and she shared it with him, and he ended up going there and got a pretty good scholarship, and he wouldn't have known otherwise if he wouldn't have attended that visit and gotten to know that representative. And so it's a really great opportunity to learn more about a school. Just yesterday, we had University of Central Arkansas visiting, and they shared that if you live on campus, you don't have to pay out-of-state tuition, which I thought was really interesting, and we would have never known if we wouldn't have attended that visit. So those are just some examples of how beneficial the visits can be and what they can do for a student. So we advertise these. We try to get the students there, but if you guys can help with that as well, we would love to have more students attend, and parents too. We always check with the school just to make sure they're okay with the parents signing on, but if you're interested in a visit and want to sign on through Zoom, we can certainly ask the college if they mind, and then share the link with you, and we'd be happy to have you join as well. So visiting with reps, attending local college fairs, there aren't a lot going on this fall. Rose State had one a couple weeks ago, but as far as in-person college fairs, there really isn't a lot going on, unfortunately, but there are a lot virtually. So we try to send that out to the students. We'll make sure that it's in the Parent Weekly, and we'll get our Counselor Corner going here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll send that out as well. And then campus visits. Many of the schools still are doing campus visits, just in a smaller group setting, and you have to register and that sort of thing. So we tell the kids, get on campus. Like for example, tomorrow we have a 3-day weekend for the students, and so tomorrow would be an excellent time to get on campus and make schedule a visit. Most of the time, you just have to go to the admissions page of that college, and you could schedule those visits online. And that's more for the personalized visit, but they do have like junior days and senior days depending on the school. So definitely take advantage of those. We always tell, just the difference between like OU's campus and OSU's campus is significantly different. And really the only way to know that is just to get on campus and get a feel for the student life, meeting with the professors, and just the city itself is very different. And so that's why we feel it's super beneficial to get on campus. Apply, that's kind of the next step once you have your colleges and known to where you want to go. Sorry, I forgot to change my screen. Getting the applications in early. So we tell the students you want to have applied typically by Halloween, which is just about a month away, no later than Thanksgiving. And we'll kind of talk about the timeline with financial aid here in just a few minutes, but that's really the main reason why, is getting those applications in early, because a lot of times the application for admission is the same application for scholarship, or it's around the same deadline. And so knowing when the deadlines are is going to be crucial in making sure you're maximizing your scholarship opportunities, as well as making sure that you're getting into the class. Most of the time, especially in Oklahoma, a lot of our colleges around here are rolling admission, meaning as students apply, they get back to you. So their class just fills up, and then once it's full, it's full. And typically from there, the student would be put on a wait list until students start backing off of that, coming off of the wait list, and then, they'll add more to it. But OU, that's pretty common. If you apply now, you probably, and you meet their admission criteria, you probably could get in. Whereas if you wait till the end of April, their class could be full. As far as waiving the ACT and SAT for next year, schools in Oklahoma, most schools, not all schools, some of the bigger schools have gone test optional. So OU is test optional, OSU is test optional, or they have different ways of getting in using your GPA, your class rank. UCO is still using the test score. So it really just depends on the school. According to OU, I had a conversation with our rep a couple weeks ago, and they still, depending on your situation, they may tell you to go ahead and submit your test scores. They may not. Most of the schools are still using them for scholarship. So it's important to distinguish, you know, is my test score going to benefit me to get into the school? And then you have to look at another level of, is it going to help me get scholarships, and should I retest? And so Mrs. Williams and I can kind of guide. It's going to be a very individualized thing, just depending on so many different factors as far as curriculum, rigor of curriculum, extracurricular, how strong of recommendation letters the student might receive. Those are all just little factors that are going to impact the student's application. And so we can have those conversations with the students and with you as parents, just as to if the student should apply test optional. Do they want to apply and not send any test scores, or should they send their test scores? So it's going to just depend on the school and the student situation. But like I said, we can help with that. So here again are the college visits. We have a lot, so hopefully the students will start taking advantage of those and really meeting with those representatives that attend our campus. As far as financial aid goes, so I was talking about kind of the timeline. And the reason we say Thanksgiving, Halloween or Thanksgiving at the latest, in order to receive any kind of financial aid from the school, you have to have applied to the school, been accepted to the school, complete the FAFSA, which opens up October 1st, and have it sent to the colleges that the student is applying to before you can receive any kind of financial aid award letter. So the FAFSA opens up October 1, so just here in a couple of weeks, and we get asked a lot, well, I probably make too much money. I don't know that the FAFSA would be beneficial for us to fill out as a family. But many schools will only offer scholarships from an institutional level if they have the FAFSA on file. So we always tell students, go ahead and submit the FAFSA or have your parents do it. They've worked out the kinks over the last couple of years, and so it really is pretty an easy process. You can link all of your IRS data. It's called the IRS data retrieval tool. You can link all of your, I'm sorry, not your IRS data, your tax information is linked to the IRS, and you just go in, click a button, and it links all of your tax information into the FAFSA application. So it's a pretty easy process. So that's why we say go ahead and submit it. And sometimes you'll be surprised. We've had students that are eligible for grants that maybe they didn't know about until they submitted the FAFSA. So when you're looking at financial aid, how do we break it down to the students? Are kind of three options, and we tell the students we want to pursue all three options. You don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket and hope that you're going to get all of this money, because the likelihood of that happening is pretty slim. So getting scholarships from the college, again, being aware of those deadlines and making sure that the application is in as well as the scholarship application, because they could be two different deadlines. And so scholarships at the college are going to be merit-based. They're going to be based off of your GPA, ACT score. They could be departmental-based, so they may be directly from if I'm majoring in engineering, or maybe I am going to pursue a music or drumline or marching band or something at the departmental level. And then there's leadership scholarships, and so those leadership scholarships, they are more just to get, they're not a lot of money, but they are a good way to get involved in the school and kind of build upon that those leadership opportunities. So that's kind of option one, the scholarships at the college level. Option two is the money that maybe you may or may not get from filling out the FAFSA. So completing the FAFSA, what it does is it generates an expected family contribution. So each school will then take the cost of attendance at the school, and it will subtract what your expected family contribution is. And that's where the financial need is developed. And so over the last few years, and we've realized that sometimes that expected family contribution is a little unrealistic to what you really can pay. They have their own tool, and they look at so many different things. And they think they have it to a science, so we just have to go with it. But and so that financial need is then created, and so then from there the colleges look at that financial need, and that's how they create their financial aid award letter. So in that letter, your student or your family could be eligible for federal Pell Grants, and those you do not have to repay. They may be eligible for state grants, state need-based grants like the OTAG or the OTEG, and those funds are typically gone in about a month. So that's why we say apply early, get your FAFSA in, because you could apply in now and get it, but if you were to wait 4 months from now, those funds could be gone and you wouldn't get it. So those are really great. Again, grants you do not have to repay. On the financial aid award letter, there could be some loans, either from the Parent Plus loan offering you as a parent, the student, subsidized, unsubsidized. There's all kinds of loan opportunities that could be on that financial aid letter. And so that will be on there, and then potentially work study. And work study is similar to kind of our work grant program here. The student works for the school, and then that money would go toward the salary, or the money that they would receive for working would go towards the cost of tuition. So those are kind of the 4 categories of what you're going to see on the financial aid award letter. You have to be cognizant, because many schools will say, oh, we'll meet 100% of your financial need. And then you start looking at that financial aid award letter. It sounds really great that they're meeting 100% of the financial need, but you look at the letter and 100% of it is in loans, and you have to pay all of that back. So it really isn't that good of a deal if you break down the letter. So that's kind of just in a nutshell the financial aid process. It can be very complicated. One thing to mention also is it's going to pull off of your prior year tax information. And so you may have had a really great year financially last year, but then this year, because of COVID or whatever, your business has tanked or whatever it is, and so it's your tax information is not a true representation of your financial ability to pay for college. And so we tell the students, like, it's okay to talk to the admissions or talk to the financial aid office at that particular college, just to have that conversation, especially now more than ever. They're going to be looking and knowing that those conversations are going to be happening. And so it's okay to bring that up, and hopefully they'll be able to kind of help maneuver through that, and get proof or whatever you need to prove that maybe what my taxes say I could, afford is really not my situation anymore. So, so just wanted to put that bug in your ear too. Oh, one more thing too about financial aid. We typically have a financial aid night just to help kind of walk through the FAFSA process. And Ms. Williams and I were talking earlier, I think it might be a bit more beneficial to actually hear from a financial aid director of a college. And so instead of actually learning the steps of the FAFSA. So we'll be coming up hopefully with some kind of webinar or seminar like this to in the next few weeks, into the next month or so, just to go over the financial aid process even more, because we could spend 2 hours here today, but we won't take your time doing that. So one other aspect of senior year is college athletics, and this isn't going to apply to many people, so I won't hit a lot of time on it, but we have the NCAA and the NAIA. These are both eligibility centers. The NCAA, of course, has Division 1, 2, and 3, and then the NAIA is kind of a smaller, around the Division 3 as far as size. And so these are just the number of schools that are in each of those divisions, the percent of athletes that receive athletic aid which I thought was really interesting. You hear a lot, well, I got a full ride for athletics. Well, you probably didn't because the colleges, each sport at the college level only has so many scholarships to award. And so they have to spread that money out amongst all of their athletes. And then, you know, the athletes that are a more higher caliber, then they're probably going to get a little bit more money. And so it's just a big mathematical science. It's a science, really, is what it is. So just to put that out there, the NCAA Eligibility Center, if your student is wanting to do Division I or Division II, they need to register on the Eligibility Center. If it's Division III, you do not have to register. They also do not offer athletic scholarships. You can see there 80% of athletes receive non-athletics aid. So the school is going to be finding funds in other places to provide scholarships. And then the NAIA, they have a lot less rules to follow and regulations. And so they can award a little bit more money because they have, not more money, more scholarships, can meet more of their need because they don't have as many regulations to follow. And then we just wanted to kind of wrapping it up really, unless, so feel free, if you've thought of any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or the Q&A. But we just wanted to make sure and mention to you as parents, the students hopefully know that we are here for them, but I thought this was great. You can't pour from an empty cup. I think a lot of us are feeling a little overwhelmed just coming into new environments. You know, I have a new baby, and so it just can be really, cause a lot of anxieties and a lot of stress for some students. And then on top of being a senior, on top of college applications, on top of pressure of getting test scores, on top of my GPA, this is a time of year that can be really difficult for seniors. And so we just want you guys to know that we're here for the students, not just for the college side, but for the mental health, for some self-care, whatever the student needs, we're here for them, to make sure that they have that support, because the main thing is to know that they're not alone. If one student is feeling that way, they probably all are. And so hopefully we as a school are helping support those needs. And if you notice anything, if your student is slacking in their grades or kind of those things that maybe you wouldn't be worried about, but it's starting to become a pattern, please let us know. We will absolutely meet with them or do whatever we need to help. Donna, did you want to chime in on anything?
We had one question that I think I accidentally clicked out of. It was on concurrent enrollment. And I think the question, if I remember it right, was as far as having to reapply for concurrent. So there is the paperwork that the student needs to bring in to us, we'll complete, and that for if they've done concurrent enrollment first semester, we just need to fill out that paperwork for second semester, and then they can take that back to the college or university and get their second semester concurrent enrollment set up. So if you've got more specific questions, just give us a call or have your student come in and talk to us, and we'll take care of that for next semester.
And then lastly, Ms. Denegri was going to hop on, but today is Mercy Day, and so she's serving ice cream to the students. So I'm sure they are loving that. So we just wanted to share these important dates, senior year dates and important information. The senior exams are just like normal, end of the semester. The senior robing ceremony is going to be March 2nd. That way, we've had some problems with figuring out how to do senior pictures. Normally the students shared one robe and took the picture in the same robe, but of course we can't do that for sanitary reasons. And so Ms. Denegri thought we could have robing a little bit early. They could have their robe, do pictures, and get your pictures mid-semester. AP exams are early May, so make sure and the registration forms should be coming home here soon. Senior academic awards will be May 12th, baccalaureate May 16th, and graduation May 18th. So that is kind of senior year in a nutshell. It's kind of going to come very quickly. We did have a question, is there a general timeline once you apply to hear back from the school if you get in or not? That is going to depend on the school. If it's a school here in Oklahoma, and most of them are on rolling admission, meaning as you apply, they will review your application and get back to you. I would give it this time of year probably 2 to 3 weeks. As the semester keeps going and their application pool builds, it could be a month, if not longer. And that's if they have all parts of the application. If it's a school that has a early action or early decision deadline, meaning it's a firm deadline, you have to apply by this day, and then they're going to review all of the applications, they're going to probably be a little bit longer as far as getting back to you, because they have to review all the applications and then send out their acceptance letters. So most of the schools in Oklahoma, you apply, they get back to you, but if it's out of state or kind of a more prestigious school, they're going to have a set deadline as to when the student will hear back. So
the one thing that I think Mallory and I would like to reiterate is that don't procrastinate. If your child has no idea what step to take, where they're at, we need to see them probably more than any other student, and that just so that we can kind of help them with the process, and because it can be overwhelming when you look at the big picture, but we can help them break it down and make it a little more manageable, and maybe take away some of the anxieties that they may have about applying in that. So if that's your case, and Mallory said before too, if there's anything we can do to help, we can set up appointments with you and your student, or have you encourage your student to come in, or let us know and we can call your student in and help them get the ball rolling on that. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you've got any questions or need help or anything as you go through this.
It's the best part of our job. So awesome. Well, thank you guys. We did that in almost 50 minutes. So that's pretty good. We could get going and not stop talking. So thank you for joining today. And if you have any questions or need anything, please feel free to let us know. I will be sending a recording of this afternoon. I think it will send the PowerPoint as well, but if not, I will share that so you have some of these dates, and we'll add some links and things like that. So thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.